Morgan and I share a love of soft and chewy butter cookies studded with gooey chocolate. Don't we, Morgan?
Yes, Tony. I love chocolate chip cookies so much. My best friend told me they're my love language. So I'm very excited to make them with you. So here I'm starting with 11¼ ounces of all-purpose flour, which is also 2¼ cups. I really like using weights though when I bake. And to that, I'm gonna add a teaspoon of table salt. And I'm also gonna add 3/4 teaspoon of baking soda. So this is something I learned from a friend of Cook's Country, Judy-Ann Wu. She's a baker out in Portland, Oregon, and she uses extra baking soda in her cookies because what it does is in the oven, it causes them to souffle and then collapse on themselves. It sort of sounds like it's a mistake, but what it actually does is makes a really gooey center. It sort of like condenses it. It makes it really nice and chewy. Okay, so now that our dry ingredients are all whisked together, we can move over to our wet. And you'll see I have 12 tablespoons of melted butter in here. I'm using unsalted butter because we already had our salt in there.
And melted.
Yeah, so it's not softened. You don't see a stand mixer. That's on purpose. So to this, I'm gonna add a cup of light brown sugar, which if you're going with weights is 7 ounces, and 1/2 cup of white sugar, or 3½ ounces. And I'm just gonna whisk these until they're nice and combined, which will take about 30 seconds. When you cream cookies in a stand mixer, you get a little bit of a cakier cookie, and I want this to be really gooey and chewy, and so that's what we have the melted butter for. I like to use a mix of brown sugar and white sugar. I feel like you get just a little kiss of molasses, but not too much. Okay, so to this, I'm also gonna add a large egg and a large egg yolk, and 2 teaspoons of vanilla. So this is a good hit of vanilla. I'm gonna whisk this until it looks emulsified, which will take about 30 seconds. So, nice and emulsified here. I like to add the flour in 2 stages because it gives you a little control in mixing. If you over mix it, you can have a tough cookie. And once you start mixing the flour, you're developing gluten, and you don't want to do that. I'm just going to get this nice and fully combined. Here I don't have to be quite as careful, since I'm only doing half of it, I'm not worried about developing too much gluten. All right, and now I'm going to add the other half of the flour. Okay, Tony, I promised you extra special cookies, so I'm actually going to add in M&Ms.
I was looking for the chocolate chips.
I know, well, these are so fun.
They are.
So here I have 9 ounces, which is 1¼ cups of M&Ms. And I just feel like they're so fun in a cookie. So now I'm gonna fold this in with the rest of that flour.
Well, I think it's really fun that you're using M&Ms because, of course, they're going to make it more colorful in there. Do you know the story about how we got M&Ms?
No.
So during World War II, the Mars Company created this candy coating to go on the outside of chocolate pieces in order to provide chocolate that wouldn't melt to servicemen.
Oh, I love that. So we have our nice dough. It looks nice and together. And now it's time to portion. We're gonna divide this into 16 equal portions. So it's about 2 heaping tablespoons each. It's also 2¼ ounces if you like using a scale, but I just have good old-fashioned tablespoon measures for us.
Okay.
So you're aiming for 8 on your tray, and I'll do 8 on mine. Did you and your family bake a lot of cookies?
We did bake a lot of cookies. My first job as a reporter did an interview with Wally Amos, famous Amos. So I had this recipe. Anyways, I thought my recipe was the best. My son came home from middle school class. He was like, I got the best recipe ever, sort of like what you said. And we actually had a bake-off. We loved them so much. And then that weekend, my son's recipes were better than mine.
Wow.
So funny. The recipe really worked. So I love this idea of secrets and techniques that are just like tricks.
So now you roll them between your hands into pretty balls, so they're nice and even. So we're almost ready to bake.
Okay.
But I do want to press these down to 3/4 inch and put it here and actually get down and do 3/4 inch. And this is just going to help it spread and start in the oven. Now that I've won, I'm just going to eyeball the rest. We'll just help them even out. Otherwise, you would have a cookie ball, which doesn't really sound like the worst thing in the world, but we want a nice, beautiful bakery-style cookie. Okay, so we're ready to bake. Usually we bake these one at a time, but here we have the gift of 2 ovens, so we can bake them both at the same time. I do have a 425-degree oven set, which is a hot oven for cookies. Most are baked at 350 or 375 degrees. This is another thing we learned from Judy-Ann. The high oven temp causes them, again, to puff and collapse on themselves. So they're only gonna bake about 8 minutes, turning them once halfway through.
I can't wait to see. Oh, they're beautiful.
They are beautiful. Those are perfect.
It smells so good in here.
So you can see they're quite blonde and they're nice and puffed. I actually am gonna let them cool on the sheet for 5 minutes. Then I'm gonna transfer them to a wire rack and let them cool 10 minutes. And then it's cookie time. Tony, it's time to eat. So, should we dig in?
Are you ready?
Yeah. I feel like I'm gonna go without milk first.
Oh, it's good and chewy.
I'm so curious. The moment of truth. I'm like, what do you think? Tell me.
I think they're delicious. They're really buttery, chewy, and it's interesting that this is a different kind of chocolate, right? You get that little candy crisp that just gives it a totally different chocolate flavor.
For full episodes of your favorite cooking shows, head over to ATK's Full Episodes channel on YouTube. You can stream complete seasons of America's Test Kitchen, Cook's Country, and more. See you there.